Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? I was not ready. I was not ready today. So, welcome to the show. I'm Katie Zed. Nice to meet you if you're new here. I was supposed to have a guest on today named Frank, who had to cancel last minute because of some family things that were going on that he needed to take care of, which I totally understand. Frank, it's cool. He's going to come on sometime in November. I'm booked through November, which is why it's not going to be this month. I have shows lined up for you guys. It's going to be great. And he's going to come on to talk about a different case in November, another Florida case. But today we are talking about a Florida case of a young man named Adam Walsh. And I'm sure you guys have heard of Adam Walsh, even if you don't know that you've heard of Adam Walsh, because Adam Walsh is the son of John Walsh, who, if any of you are as old as I am, you remember watching the America's Most Wanted show. That's John Walsh. He started doing that show after his son went missing. And he helped so many people along the way. We're going to get into all the details about that, but I just wanted to let you know that the stream started, or I scheduled the stream with Frank going to be here. So I had a thumbnail and everything with Frank on it and the title, and I couldn't figure out how to change it on all of the platforms without just deleting it and starting over. So hopefully people who had signed up or like click the notification for that other stream found their way over to this stream because I deleted that stream and now we're here. Let's say hi to you guys. So, Major Victory, good to see you. Always good to see you, Major Victory. Kimmy's here. Good to see you, Kimmy. I haven't seen you in a while. I think you had popped in before my stream started yesterday, the day before. So I'm not sure if you were there, but that was a very interesting case 2 days ago, wasn't it? I'm going to follow that one for sure. We talked about JF and his missing wife. I'm still praying that they find her alive and well. Ryan the Gamer, 395. Good to see you. And I guess let's just get into it. First things first, we got to introduce the doggos. Let me click the right buttons. That's not the right button. There we go. Their camera's a little messed up. So Zena's here. There's Zena. Ava is here as well. There she is. And as you guys know, if you want to help a sister out and do a little donation, I would appreciate that. You could do it right here on YouTube if you're watching on YouTube. It looks like some people are over there on Rumble. Hi, Rumble people. You can donate directly on Rumble too. Rumble does not demonetize me every other month. So you can always donate on Rumble. They also take 20% instead of 30% like YouTube does. So Rumble's great. YouTube, you can donate, you can become a member, any of those things. And if you do it while we're on air, the puppos will get a treato. And I have them right here and they love that. Erica, could you if people are on the other link, could you let them know in the chat over there that there was some technical issues and I had to restart with a brand new link? Could you go in the chat over there and just let them know? I would appreciate that. Along with Rumble or YouTube, you can donate through via the Buy Me a Coffee app. It is buymeacoffee.com/KDZ, or you can become a member over on the Subscribestar at subscribestar.com/KDZ. I'm KDZ everywhere. Let me get this open so if somebody does donate on the Buy Me a Coffee, I will see it. Oh, somebody already bought a coffee and somebody bought a super sticker. So we'll start off with treats today and then we'll get into the show. Let's do that right now. Hey guys, Major Victory and Erica, love you both very much. And you each get 2 treats. I'm telling you what, I was on Hez's stream last night and I made the offer that if people donated to Hez, I would give the dogs treats. And Zena had so many treats yesterday. She was very excited. And thank you all so much for supporting Hez. He does such a great job and I love his show. It's always so much fun. No drama. Just smiles and cheer all around every time I'm either in his chat or on his show. And I love that about him. So let's start off with some goodies for the puppers. Yeah, Methodist Dave, there was technical difficulties, so I had to do I'm thinking nobody's going to show up because I had to restart. I had to delete that stream and do another stream because of, stuff happens. Yeah, I'm Katie Zed and I'm not great at tech. If you didn't know that about me, now you do. I'm thinking nobody will show up today because I had to do a new stream. When Frank had to cancel, I couldn't change it after I had done it, so I had to delete the whole thing and then redo it with a new thumbnail and title. But like I said at the beginning, Frank will come on, just not for this case, for another case in the future. All right, so thank you very much to Erica and Major Victory for the super sticker. Hey, Ava. There she is. Can you do a shake? Do a shake. Do a shake. There you go. Xena, do a shake. Xena's on it. Go back. Do touch. There you go. And you do touch. There you go. They're very happy pups. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to get into it now. Have you guys heard of Adam Walsh? I assume you have. Like I said at the beginning, he's John Walsh's son. And he went missing from a Sears store in 1981. Let's get to the top of the notes. Adam was 6 years old at the time. And his mom, Reva, and his dad, John. He had his mom, Reva, and his dad was John Walsh, who you guys know. No relation to Watt Malsh. He was an only child at the time, but after he went missing, his parents did have 3 other children. Megan, born in 1982, Callahan, born in 1985, and Hayden, born in 1994. Adam was a shy kid. He loved baseball. There's his baseball photo. It's a very famous photo. This is the one that they put out at the time that he was missing because it was taken only a month before his disappearance. So it was the most recent photo. You know, back then they didn't have, it wasn't like today where you have like 20 pictures of your kids on your cell phone at all times, at least, probably hundreds. Some people have hundreds of photos. I have probably 1,000 photos on my cell phone right now, most of which are probably my dog, because all the children in my life are grown up adults now and don't live here. So I have lots of pictures of the doggos on my phone. They're very photogenic. I mean, y'all are really here to see Xena and Ava. I know that for sure. You're not here for me. They're the stars of the show. He was a shy kid. He loved baseball. On Monday, July 27th, 1981, Reva and she took Adam to the Sears store at the mall because there was a lamp that she saw that was on sale, and she wanted to... I thought I had a map pulled up, but oh yeah, I do. Here we go. So she was at this mall here in Hollywood, Florida, and you can see Hollywood, beautiful town, right on the beach here. But the Sears store is now a Target. It's no longer a Sears. It's a Target. It's here. Let's just do a little. Let's plop you in the parking lot over here so we can see what we can see. So this is where the Sears was at the time. So she goes to the mall to get this lamp that's on sale, and as they're going down the aisle to get to the lamp store, Adam sees this section set up for the brand new Atari 2600. For some reason in my notes I put, let's change that. I put Nintendo 2600, but it was an Atari. It was Atari 2600, and the game that had just come out a couple of weeks earlier was Donkey Kong, like the original Donkey Kong. You can see in this photo here, this is the actual picture of the Sears before it was a Target. And they have a picture from inside the store in this article too, where you can see... There it is. This is how it was set up. So there was a TV, and the at-home gaming system was set up for people to test out. Have you guys ever done that? Like when you were a kid, I remember in Walmart, they used to always have the video games set up. So my mom would be shopping and I would go and play the video games or watch people play the video games. Either way, because we never had... we had an Atari 400, which was not exactly the Atari 2600 that all my friends had. And after like the newer Nintendos came out, we got the original Nintendo. We were always behind the times. We never had the newest, greatest system. We would get the used stuff from like the thrift store or whatever. So I would love to hang out in that section and see all the new games and stuff like that. It was good times. So he goes and he wants to play the Donkey Kong. I'll just leave that on the screen while I tell you what happened. So the new Atari 2600, there was older kids there playing the game, and he asked his mom, "Hey, can I sit or can I stand, I guess, and watch these older teenagers play the Donkey Kong game while you go get your lamp, Mom?" And she said, "Yes, no problem. You can go hang out, watch the older kids play Donkey Kong. I'll go get the lamp, and we'll go from there." So she goes to get the lamp, and unfortunately, the lamp that she wanted was sold out. It was on sale. It was sold out. So she filled out one of those rain checks, which I don't even think they do anymore. I haven't heard of that in years. But it used to be when something was on sale, like advertised price, and I would assume it was the Sears catalog or some sort of flyer, had this specific lamp that she wanted on sale. If the store didn't have it, they would give you a rain check, which it was like a physical piece of paper that you would fill out and they would sign, saying that when the lamp comes in, even if it's not on sale anymore, you can get it for the sale price because we were out of it while it was on sale. So she fills out that paperwork. She goes back to find Adam, and none of the kids were there. Like none of the older kids, none of the younger kids that were watching. Everyone was gone, scattered. They were just gone. Immediately panic set in. Let me know in the chat if you are a parent, if you've ever lost one of your kids in a store, and if you freaked the heck out immediately when that happened, because I know from experience, if I ever lost a kid in the store, it was immediate panic, especially a 6-year-old. Like 6 is very young, and I understand it was a different time back then. Adam was around, would have been just a couple of years older than me now. So I grew up around the same time when all of this was happening. I would have freaked out. A 6-year-old. Back then, it was more like free range children. We were allowed to go out and play without supervision, things like that, as long as we were with other kids. And he was with other kids, even though she didn't know these other kids. She found an employee. They did a PA, over like an announcement over the PA system. "Adam Walsh, your mother is looking for you. Come to the service desk, find the nearest employee. Adam Walsh, please come to the service desk or find the closest employee, and we will reunite you with your mom." So that call goes out. Let's get Xena over here because Ava decided to leave. Once that PA announcement was made from the service desk, the store manager went to the service desk and found Riva. I keep mispronouncing. I put phonetically how to say her name. Riva. It's spelled R-E-V-E, so I keep wanting to say Revi, but it's pronounced Riva. A store manager found her at the service desk and let her know that a security guard kicked all of the kids out of the store after an argument broke out between the older kids about whose turn it was next. So this argument starts. It wasn't like a fist fight or anything, but some sort of disagreement started, an argument started, and the security guard kicked all the kids out of the west entrance. Now, this is not the entrance that Adam came in with his mom, so he didn't know where the car was. Also, I don't know why they wouldn't have kicked them out of the store into the mall. They kicked them out of the store outside. If you guys remember going to big department stores like that, there's an entrance that leads into the rest of the mall, and there's also other entrances that you can go directly to the parking lot. They kicked them out directly into the parking lot through a different entrance that Adam had never been in before. I can imagine being 6 years old. This authority figure is telling you you're kicked out of the Sears, you can't come back. He probably thinks that he's in trouble. Also, they said that he was very shy, so he wouldn't have spoken up at all and said, hey, my mom's in there, or I don't know these kids. I assume that the security guard thought that one of these older kids was a sibling of Adam's or something, especially since Adam is not the type of kid that would have spoken up. So coincidentally, as Riva was searching for Adam, she ran into Adam's paternal grandmother, John's mom. Jean Walsh joined the search for Adam. After about 90 minutes of paging over not only the Sears PA system, they went out into the mall, talked to those security guards, paged over the system in the mall that goes over the whole mall. And 90 minutes later, they still hadn't found Adam. At 1:55 p.m., the Hollywood Police Department were called. A massive search, including helicopters, dogs, hundreds of people volunteered along with the police and other authority figures. For 4 days, they searched the area looking for Adam. And after 4 days, the search was kind of called off a little bit. They were still, obviously, the case wasn't closed. This was in 1981, Kimmy, 1981. After 4 days, the actual ground search was stopped. So they're like, well, if we didn't find you by now. And then immediately John and Riva went on, started doing like the press, getting in front of the camera saying, hey, my kid's missing. This is normal to do when a loved one goes missing, if you ask me, is to get their name and photo out there immediately. Has anybody seen my kid? Whoever's missing, your wife, your kid, your loved one, whoever. This is what they look. Here's what they look like. Their name is this. Even if one of my dogs go missing, immediately I'm on like the Nextdoor app or the neighborhood Facebook group saying, hey, here's a picture of my dog. She answers to Xena. Find her. Actually, Xena would never run away. Ava, on the other hand, at any chance she gets, she's out of here. She's a terrorist. So John worked for an architecture firm at the time, and the architecture firm put up money along with John's money to help find Adam. So $100,000 was put up for the safe return of Adam. And they were thinking that if somebody had kidnapped Adam, that the $100,000 would be enough to make it worth their time to, instead of getting rid of Adam, to return him safely. I'm going to play a couple of these videos, this archive footage.
6-year-old Adam Walsh is still missing at this hour. The sandy-haired youngster disappeared from the Sears Hollywood Mall between 12:30 and 1:45 on Monday afternoon. We've invited his parents, John and Reve Walsh, to be in Channel 4 studio in the hope that their words might be heard by the person or persons who police believe abducted young Adam. Mrs. Walsh, you were in the store, of course, with Adam when he disappeared. What do you think happened?
I think that someone could have overheard me tell him where I was going and talked him into meeting me there, or he could have been chased out of the store by a scuffle that happened during the same amount of time, and from there he was just scared and didn't know what to do.
Now, you went to the lamp department and Adam wandered over to the toy department nearby.
Well, we have to pass the toy department to get to the lamp department, so.
And while we're on that subject, Mr. Walsh, I believe the police would be anxious to talk to anybody who might have been in Sears on Monday afternoon between 12:30 and 1:45 in that vicinity. Am I correct?
Yes, they feel They're quite surprised that someone hasn't come forth yet. They're totally baffled by Adam's disappearance and convinced that someone has him, but they appeal to anyone that was in Sears from 12 until 3 that afternoon.
12 until 3.
To please come forth and contact the Hollywood department so that we could follow up on that.
How was Adam dressed, Mrs. Walsh?
He had on a basically red and white horizontally striped Izod shirt, green shorts, and yellow rubber.
You guys remember Izod shirts? That was so popular back then, the Izod shirts. I'm putting Erica and Major Victory's name into the drawing right now. I forgot to mention that at the beginning. Anybody who donates anything or buys a t-shirt, anything like that, your name gets into the drawing, as well as other things. We'll have a little contest along the way during the month for, you don't have to make a purchase or anything to be in the drawing, but automatically, if you do support the show, you go into the drawing.
Thongs. They were blue straps, yellow bottoms on them. He had a white, very distinct captain's hat on with a navy blue visor.
Mr. Walsh, there is, of course, a possibility that someone holding Adam might be watching this station, this program at this moment. What would you say to that person?
We love Adam very much, and we have no vengeance for the people that have Adam. We just want them to know that the police and we would feel that if they could please drop him off somewhere, there will be no retaliation. We do not want to prosecute the people. We just want our son back. We feel that the people may be afraid that there will be retaliation, and that is not the case. We are prepared to deal with them in any way, on any terms whatsoever, to get Adam back.
Let's give the...
You can just hear the worry in John's voice. First of all, he looks so young there, right? You know, him being on America's Most Wanted for all those years, you kind of get a picture in your head of what John Walsh looks like, and he's so young in this. But his voice during this segment, keep in mind, this is 5 days, I believe, after his son went missing. They hadn't obviously found or anything yet of Adam. And it just breaks my heart when you hear his voice.
Police phone number in Hollywood, 921-3387. That's a number that can be called with any information concerning Adam's whereabouts. And in the belief that perhaps somebody may not want to go through the police to avoid retaliation, as you put it, let's give another number, the one for our Channel 4 news line. I'll be very happy to talk with anybody at 371-7144. That's 371-7144. That's our Channel 4 News hotline in Miami. And we do join with the prayers of thousands of others, your neighbors and friends, asking for Adam's safe return. Good night. May the good news be yours.
May the good news be yours. That's a good tagline. I might steal that. Here's one more.
Walsh returned last night from a trip to Orlando and to Tampa, talking to reporters in hopes someone will remember something that could lead to the safe return of the 6-year-old son, Adam. Hollywood police have released this composite sketch of a woman witnesses say may have been with Adam in an amusement park in Fort Lauderdale. The woman has dark hair and wears glasses, and police say they are looking for help trying to find her. John Walsh says he may take a trip to New York to spread the word nationwide after this recent trip.
I still believe that somehow we'll reach the people that have Adam, and they'll realize that we don't want to hurt them, or we don't want to prosecute, and maybe they'll realize that, you know, how much hurt they've caused by taking Adam, and maybe they'll let him go somewhere.
At Hollywood Police Headquarters, detectives are trying to locate the woman who matches the composite drawing. Flyers about Adam are all over Dade and Broward counties and even Canada. Donations to help find Adam has grown to $120,000. Reva Walsh had a message for anyone who may have Adam in their custody.
We would donate any money they needed to help themselves or to help their problem. But we know Adam needs to be home, and Adam will never have a grudge against anyone that was kind to him.
Mel Taylor, Newswatch 10.
It's so sad. one more, and then I'll move on with the story. But I just want you guys to get a feeling of what was happening at this time. Their child, their 6-year-old, only child at the time, just goes missing, poof, off the face of the earth at a mall. And it's back then at malls, they were safe. This was a suburban mall. It wasn't like they were in a big city. They were in Hollywood, Florida. Middle class, safe area. I can remember hanging out at a mall. Like that was my childhood. Maybe not at 6, obviously not by myself, but in middle and high school, the mall was the place to be. That's where you met up with your friends. You would go get some Sbarro pizza, you know, that sort of stuff.
I'm Steve Bosquet. John Walsh walked into a crowded room at the Hollywood police station this afternoon to talk to reporters about the arrest of a suspect in his son's murder. It was the same room where 27 months ago, John...
Okay, sorry, I'm going too soon. This is for later. I have my
Walsh
videos
first
out of order. My bad. We'll get back to the story. That is supposed to be there. All right, we'll put Adam back on the screen for you guys. Okay, so here's where we're at. Adam's playing or watching people play Donkey Kong on the Atari 2600. And this was the end of July. This is July 27th. So now, August 10th, 1981, we're jumping ahead a week or a couple weeks. 2 fishermen find what they thought was a doll's head in a ravine near a canal just off the Florida Turnpike near Vero Beach. And this is 130 miles north of where Adam was abducted from. So Adam was abducted from Hollywood, Florida, down here. And so up here near Vero Beach, which, by the way, I will be in Vero Beach at the end of the month. If any of my people who watch are down there, let me know. We might have some time to get together. I'm going to do an event down there. So this is the Florida Turnpike, and you can see it's just kind of desolate down there. All of the people in Florida either live near the coast or in this middle area by Orlando. So down here off the Florida Turnpike, in between those 2 points, near a canal, is where Adam's head was found. Not the rest of him, just his head. So the investigators obviously had an idea of who it might be, but they have to identify him. So they did that via dental records. And Adam had one filling in his mouth, and the filling was on the right-hand side on the lower, and the dental records definitely matched that of Adam Walsh. This is pre-DNA. I think DNA was a thing, but it was in its infancy. It was still a process that they were discovering. I always think of the time that I first heard of DNA was during the O.J. Simpson trial, which was mid-90s. So that's when it first became something that they were actually using in investigation. So there was no DNA tests or anything like that they were able to do at the time. So it was dental records. Adam's parents immediately became activists for missing children. They started the Adam Walsh Outreach Center for Missing Children out of their garage just a few days after Adam's funeral. The couple lobbied for the Missing Children's Act, which would create a system for data to be entered into the FBI's National Crime Information Center database, which is also known as, you'll hear it in other investigations, they call it NCIS. Now, NCIS, more than 400,000 cases. 400,000 cases. the NCIC have been a part of recovering missing children. 400,000. That's insane. That's so many kids. I'm so like, it stinks that obviously Adam Walsh was not found alive, but through the activism that John Walsh did, he's able to reunite all of these children with their families. In 1984, John Walsh co-founded the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. And I think I don't have that. Okay, so and I'm sure you've heard of that too. That is when anytime you see anything about a missing child, they say contact the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. John Walsh started that, and it's brought all of these people together to have a system for when a child goes missing. These are the steps you take. This is what you do, and it's helped so many people get reunited with their children. In 1988, John Walsh became the host of the TV show America's Most Wanted. This is where you all know John Walsh from. America's Most Wanted. I used to love that show. Growing up, I would watch it all the time. I want to say it was on Friday or Saturday nights. I can remember watching it. And I was actually thinking, tell me if you, like, there's, how many people are here now? There's a bunch of people over on Rumble. Oh, we got another donation on Rumble too. So there's 17 people on Rumble, 20 people on the other platforms. Tell me if you think this is a good idea. I was brainstorming this with my husband the other day. I was thinking about going back and watching old episodes of America's Most Wanted and then covering any cases that have been solved since then. Is that something you guys would be interested in? Let me know. Well, you let me know. I will give Xena and Ava another treat, and I will pop this up on the screen so you guys can see. Pop out chat. Smith W made a donation over there on Rumble and asked, what can you win? This month, you can win a retro Overruled coffee mug. Not sold anymore. This is the old version. I have one left that is unopened, and it looks like this. And that's what you win this month. It does not come with coffee. That's my coffee. You can't have it. And at the end of the month, let's see. I think on the November 5th stream, we'll do the drawing on the November 5th stream, because on the stream on the 29th, I will be on the road, or on the 29th at 4:30, which is a Sunday. I will be on my way home from Vero Beach, and I'm going to go live from the car. I'm not driving. I have a chauffeur that day. My friend Steven is my chauffeur, and he will be driving, and I'll go live from the road at 4:30 on that day. I'm not sure what I'll talk about, but something. We'll just visit that day. How about that? All right, Xena. This is from Smith. Xena, wake up. All right, do a shake. Do a high five. That's a good high five. That was a good shake. Good girls. Thank you so much, Smith. I appreciate that. And the doggos appreciate that too. Amazing. You do not win Xena. How about if you win, you don't get Xena, you get a coffee mug like that. For next month, for November, I'll create a coffee mug with the Xena logo on it, and that will be the prize. Does that sound good? Remember, there's no, you obviously automatically get entered when you support the show, but I will also have other ways to enter, no purchase necessary. And I think what I'll do is anybody who calls into the show will automatically get an entry. I'll take calls at the end of this show and a few more throughout the month. So if you call in, you get a entry at no cost. Major Victory wants to know, if he wins, can he have Ava? And yes, absolutely. She's a terrorist. She's all yours. They got their treats and they're out of here. This one's going on the pillows, apparently. So America's Most Wanted, you guys remember that show? Good stuff. I forgot to check if you guys said it was a good idea for me to cover solved America's Most Wanted cases that were unsolved in the 80s and 90s and are solved now. Seems like you guys think it's a good idea. Get the notes back up. During its time on air, America's Most Wanted and John Walsh helped law enforcement capture over 1,400 fugitives and found over 50 missing children because of the exposure on the show. So we're talking about 400,000 children reunited with their families from the NCIC. And then another 50 kids reunited with their parents because of America's Most Wanted, and 1,400 fugitives caught from America's Most Wanted. John Walsh spent his entire life, he quit being an architect, and he dedicated his life to helping other families who were going through the turmoil and tragedy that he had gone through when his son was missing. I don't mean to laugh. I wasn't laughing at that. I'm laughing at Ava over there being goofy. So in 1983, a TV movie, like a made-for-TV movie, aired, and it was called Adam, and it went through what happened to Adam, or like what the time he went missing, and the work that that John and Riva did after the case. The day after the movie aired for the first time, it's aired 3 times. Oh, also, side note, this made-for-TV movie called Adam, it was the very first time at the end of the movie, it had pictures of missing kids and the number to call for the Center for Missing Exploited Children. It was the very first time that happened. And then it aired in the subsequent year. So it aired the first time in 1983, and then in 1984 and 1985. And they had kids who were missing at the end of the show. And that too helped find missing children. So the day after this movie aired, a career criminal named Otis Toole, handsome fellow, Otis Toole, was in jail for it was for an arson that he did, that somebody died during. So a person died during the commission of an arson that he was in jail for. This made-for-TV movie aired. It was on like the TV at the jail or whatever, and he ends up confessing to the murder, the abduction and murder of Adam Walsh. Toole was a career criminal. He was being held on unrelated charges. On January 1982, Toole barricaded a 65-year-old George Sottenberg in a boarding house where he was living at the time in Jacksonville, Florida. He set fire to that house. A week later, Sottenberg died from the injuries he sustained during that fire. In 1976, so we're going back to 1976, Toole met a guy named Harry Lee Lucas at a Jacksonville soup kitchen. And Toole and this Lucas guy became involved with each other. in that sort of way, and ended up committing, like, going on a crime spree together. So they were dating, I guess you would say, and were like partners in crime, like literal partners in crime. If you guys know anything, if you're into true crime at all, you know that this Lucas guy is the guy who confessed to like 1,000 different murders, and he was technically only connected to like 20 of them. So he's still a bad guy. He's a horrible guy, but he wanted to be famous. So, or sorry, I said 1,000. I meant 100. 108 actually murders. And he said that he and Toole committed 108 murders, and they did it at the behest of a cult called the Hands of Death. Police, however, discounted their claims of this cult. The cult was the existence of the cult was uncooperated. In June of 1981, his accomplice, Henry Lee Lucas, was arrested for unlawful possession of a firearm. It was then that Lucas began boasting about the murderous rampage orchestrated by the two. At first, Toole had denied his involvement, but then later went back to the police and like backed up his confessions, like said, ended up going back and saying, oh yeah, that's true, that all happened. Let me turn this music down a little bit. It's a little too upbeat for this story. Toole, speaking of tools, I don't know why all this music is so stinking upbeat. Toole denied his involvement, but then he ended up confessing to the murder of Adam Walsh. So he was an arsonist. I found this newspaper. I found this really cool thing that Google can do where you can search newspapers. So I thought that was interesting. Lucas became widely regarded as a compliant interviewee who was used by police to clear up unsolved murders that he had not been involved in at all, aided by Toole, giving false statements in collaboration. So basically what happened, and this should be a case that I cover completely separate. This Lucas guy and Toole they were in jail for other things. And they found that if they confessed to stuff, they would get special treatment. They would get to go on trips out of the jail to different parts of the country to look at crime scenes. They would get one of the things that they said that they got was their own TV in their cell. They got their own cell. Like instead of being in a cell where you're sharing the cell with somebody, they were able to have their own cell with like a TV that's their own TV. All of these trips all over the country where they were fed food that was not jail food or prison food, I guess. All sorts of special treatment. They would get real coffee instead of powdered coffee while they were in the interview rooms. And one of the things that Toole had said is, when they would go into a case, like, so all of these detectives wanted to solve these cases. They wanted to bring these families closure. It was their life's mission to, when you're working on the cold case files, you want to solve these cases because these families are just so distraught. They want to know what happened to their loved ones. And these two guys were willing to give them whatever they wanted. So in an interview, Otis Toole had said that what he would do is when they would ask him about a case, at first he would deny everything, but then they would start showing him photos and giving him details about the case, saying, are you sure you don't remember being, in Wichita, Kansas in 1982? Here's a picture of the area. And he would make mental notes of something in the photos or something in the files to where he could then bring it up later and say, oh yeah, I remember being there. I remember throwing a Diet Coke. I was drinking a Diet Coke and I left the can on the side of the road. Because earlier, an hour earlier when they were telling him about the case, he made a mental note that in the crime scene photo, there was a Diet Coke can on the side of the road. So that's how he was able to do this with all of these cases. 108 cases he did this with, 108 families. Keep in mind, there's no physical evidence tying him to any of them except for like 20 of them. So the other thing that gets me is all of those real murderers are just like out there now, like just out there getting away with murder because this guy confessed to the crimes. He figured he's already in jail forever, whatever. On October 21st, 1983, while he was in prison for 2 unrelated murders, Toole confessed to the 1981 murder of 6-year-old Adam Walsh. That's where we're going with this. So he confessed to killing Adam Walsh. A few weeks later, after Toole made the confession, police officers who were investigating the case announced that they had lost Toole's car and the machete. So when he was arrested for these 2 unrelated murders, they impounded his car and there was a machete in it. The police lost the car. How do you lose a whole car and all of the evidence from a case? I guess they figured because he was already in prison for these other murders, they didn't need it anymore. But keep in mind, too, this is the guy that's confessing to all these cases. So you'd think you'd want to, hang on to that white Cadillac. Just hold on to it for a little bit. Police officers, after arresting Otis Toole in 1983, police reportedly searched his car with luminol, which is the chemical agent. You guys know what luminol is, where you spray it, and then if there's blood, it lights up with the black light. So they have pictures from before they lost the car. So they have pictures from before they lost the car, and inside the car, is this not the right? Here it is. Okay, so inside the car, there is what they say is an imprint of Adam Walsh's face. I don't know how they see this, how you can see this splatter and think that you can identify the person from it, or even that it's a face at all. So they're saying like right here is the eye, and here is the mouth, and here's the nose. And they're saying this is from Adam Walsh's head being just like left in this car. I'm not sure I buy that. The blood was tested, and of course, this is before DNA. The blood was tested when they had the car, but because they lost the car, they couldn't then go back when the DNA was developed and figure out if it was actually Adam Walsh's or not. So even John Walsh looked at these pictures and said, "Yep, that's definitely my son. That's him. That's an outline of Adam's face." Toole died in his prison cell in Rainford, Florida, from cirrhosis at the age of 49. Otis Toole's niece contacted John Walsh right after her uncle died and said that her uncle confessed to Adam's murder on his deathbed. So basically, he confessed back when that movie came out, and then he took it back. He unconfessed, and then as he was on his deathbed, he confessed again. So he's dying from cirrhosis, and he said, "Niece, I don't know what niece's name was. I need to tell you something. I killed Adam Walsh." The niece called John Walsh, said, "Hey, he confessed," and John Walsh was satisfied. Lucas had backed Toole's confession to the Walsh murder, claiming that he had been in possession of the victim's severed head. This was impossible because at the time Lucas was in jail in Virginia. So this is another one of these false confessions. But on December 16th, 2008, 27 years after the 1981 murder in Hollywood, Florida, police announced that Toole was the murderer and that the Adam Walsh case is now closed. The police did not reveal any new physical evidence or anything, no DNA, nothing. They just said, okay, now the case is closed. Hollywood, Florida Police Chief Chadwick Wagner said that Toole had been the prime suspect all along. But he went on to admit that Toole's case was weak, so they couldn't make an arrest at the time. So when they were originally investigating, he was definitely a suspect the whole time, guys. Definitely him. Wagner acknowledged the fact that many mistakes were made by the department and apologized to the Walsh family on its behalf. Wagner also acknowledged the fact that the lack of new evidence and the inability of Toole to defend himself could provide room for skeptics to doubt Toole's guilt, saying, and I quote, "If you're looking for that magic wand, that one piece of evidence, it's not there." However, after the police re-examined previously uncorrelated evidence, they and the Walsh family were both satisfied with the new report and the existing evidence, which only points to Otis Toole. So we'll play you this video now. I don't buy it, guys. Do you think Otis Toole did this, or do you think that they just want some sort of closure? Let me know in the chat while this video is playing.
In Florida have officially named the man who murdered 6-year-old Adam Walsh back in 1981, finally bringing this case to a close. Adam's parents, John and Reve Walsh, are with us this morning.
Good morning.
I watched part of the news conference yesterday. There was so much emotion in that room. What was that day? What was yesterday like for the both of you? Reve, why don't you start?
Well, we've always called it bittersweet, which capsulizes it, but it was more sweet yesterday because it's something that's not going to change. It's never going to go away. Adam's never going to come back. So this is the best of a poor situation. 27 years of frustration was not anything I would wish on anyone, but the fact that it happened in my lifetime was my goal.
What was your reaction when the police called you and said, you know what, we want to close the books on this?
New chief, real man, apologized to us yesterday, said that some previous people involved in the case way back made some huge mistakes and had basically a defensive position. And it was a very tough day for me because I spent 2 weeks in that police department looking for that little boy, the 2 worst weeks of my life, and went back repeatedly year after year and argued and said, I think you know who killed Adam. It's here.
Yeah.
And was turned down repeatedly. And a new chief comes in and says, you know, I'm going to review it. And 2 real heroes of mine are a guy named Kelly Hancock, who was a former prosecutor in Broward, retired with 300 undefeated homicide cases and said, I put guys on death row with less evidence than they have about Otis Toole. Joe Matthews, retired homicide detective, who was hired by the Hollywood police initially to help with the investigation, then fired, and put this together, took it to Chief Wagner a year ago and said, there's no question. Huge mistakes have been made in this case.
Yeah.
Otis Toole killed Adam Walsh.
Right.
And Chief Wagner said, we owe it to you. And it was a really tough day. We had our children with us, our 3 children who've been born since Adam. But it ended a really long, torturous journey. And I know how many people don't get justice. I live in that world. Lots of people never get their cases closed.
Well, that was one of the things we talked about earlier in the program today. It's not necessarily routine, but it's not atypical that police lose things. Pieces, essential pieces of evidence go missing. The thing years ago, when finally DNA technology was up to a point where you could say unequivocally, this guy did this thing, the thing you needed most wasn't there.
Louis Freeh was the then director of the FBI and a big supporter of the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, which Reve started, and trains cops. Actually, a couple of the Hollywood cops have been there to the National Center. Louis said, let's get the carpet, and I'll test it. I could test it in 2 days.
Yeah.
How could you lose evidence in probably the highest profile murder of a child in Florida history?
In the country.
In the country. But, you know, those
I'm the biggest supporter of law enforcement. There are lots of times they don't have the training, they're human beings, but there was a lot of tough mistakes. But yesterday, a chief who said it to Hervé and I said, we really owe it to you to do this. And the state attorney's office closed the case, exceptionally cleared it. That ended a chapter in our lives.
You've been here so many times talking about other children. You both have made it part of your life's mission to make sure that what happened to your son doesn't happen again. In the end, you can walk away. That's the real question. Can you walk away from this now?
No, it's become our life mission. I mean, you know how life takes you in the strangest ways, and America's Most Wanted is certainly my passion. 21 years, we've caught 1,000 plus fugitives in 35 countries. The National Center is working day and night. As a matter of fact, we're working on a national DNA database. We suffered firsthand the problems with not having a national DNA database.
And so many people help us, and so many people make it possible for us to do productive things towards children's issues and towards the safety of our children. And being there and have done all the work all along, we see new opportunities. People create the ability for us to do it. So we just have to do as much as we can while we've got the ball in our court.
That's what it's all about. Hervé, thank you so much, John.
Thank you.
Okay. So you can see they're satisfied that Otis Toole is the guy. Oh, my hair's all messed up. They're satisfied. I personally don't believe that Otis Toole is the guy, but the arrest or the closure of the case has brought closure to the family. In my opinion, God knows what happened to Adam Walsh, and I believe he will punish whoever is responsible for sure. And the family has some sort of relief and closure. Now, let's get into some additional suspects, shall we? That's where the case technically ends. Otis Toole did it, and, I would like to let people watching over there on Rumble know I see that there's a person spamming over there. I don't know how to work Rumble. I don't know how to make a mod, and I don't know how to I have to look into it. But JC, please don't spam my chat, and I would appreciate that. I don't even know if it was you. No, it was this Patriot Eagles guy. Please don't come into my chat and direct people to another stream. What are you doing? JC, you're good. You're good. I misread the names. My bad. After the show, Smith, I'm going to see if I can figure out how to make you and Waffle Salter a mod. Over there. So right now we'll just have to deal with it. I know there's a lot of people watching over there on Rumble right now, and I appreciate it. Don't forget, before we go into more suspects or the other suspect of, and take calls, we're taking calls as well. I'll put the invite in there now. And you guys can get in here if you want. I put it over there on YouTube. So I'm going to go into the other suspect. But first I have to do my advertisement. It's ad time, guys. And we're live, so you can't skip. This show today is brought to you by, drumroll please. It's brought to you by me, because nobody will sponsor this stuff. So if you would like to have an Overruled t-shirt or a True Crime with Xena, True Crime with You, t-shirt, or any of the other things, go to kdz.com and use discount code Xena10 for 10% off. We have the wine glass over there, True Crime with Xena. We have hats, nice hats, beautiful hats. Ava's gone because she was acting up a little bit. You want to okay, now everybody's gone. Stainless steel travel mug. pet bandanas, Christmas ornaments, all of the things. Today's show is brought to you by Katie Zed. KatieZed.com. Use Nina10 for just 10% off at checkout. The new coffee mugs. I showed you the old coffee. This is what you would win if you donate. This is the old version of the coffee mug. The new coffee mug is on the screen there. It's gray now instead of white. If you make any donation while we're live here today or at any time, either on Rumble, on YouTube, at the Buy Me a Coffee, I'm getting there. Buy Zena Milkbone, buy me a coffee, buymeacoffee.com/KatieZ. You get your name entered automatically into the drawing for this month. You will win the retro mug. Beautiful mug there. And Zena will get a Milkbone on air. Zena and Ava. How about this? Zena gets a Milkbone automatically no matter what. $10 and more. I will bring the terrorist back in here and you could watch them fight behind me because that's what happens when they're both in here. So definitely do that. End of advertisement. End of advertisement. Let me click all the buttons that I need to click and we'll get back to it. So many buttons. So many buttons, so little time. I just want to get the Rumble chat back up. There's lots of people on Rumble today. Welcome, welcome, Rumble people. I'm glad to see you. Don't forget all of my shows, the ones that I don't leave on YouTube because they're a little too much for YouTube, all go over to Rumble. They live on Rumble. They live on Odyssey. And the Friday Night Crimes go to the Friday Night Crime YouTube channel. Could somebody put that in the chat for me? I would appreciate it. I will also put the invitation over in the Rumble chat if anybody wants to call in. Call in now. We're going to take calls in about 5 or 10 minutes. Link is in the chat. All right, now I have to get all this stuff off the screen. Off the screen. Clicking the buttons. Remember, KatieZ.com, discount code Zena10. BuyMeCoffee.com/KatieZ. Basically, I'm KatieZ everywhere. Just put KatieZ in the search. All of the things will come up. All right, back to the story.
Today, 6-year-old Adam Walsh was abducted from a shopping mall. His severed head was found 2 weeks later. As Mike Besselinda tells us, the case forever changed the way parents guard their children and how Florida and the nation look for those who disappear.
Adam Walsh was left playing video games unattended in a department store in the summer of 1981. He was never seen again. Following the murder, John and Reve Walsh began a crusade for kids.
Someday, no one will have to face the anguish they have undergone.
In 1983, then Governor Bob Graham signed the first legislation in the country creating a missing children's clearinghouse.
It's very rewarding to see, your accomplishments finally come to light, but it'll never erase the loss that we've experienced.
Serial killer Ottis Toole confessed twice but was never tried for the murder. At the time, the Walshes told us Toole wasn't important, saving kids was.
We haven't really concerned ourselves with vengeance. I think that is something that eats you up.
The first clearinghouse was housed here, just blocks from the state capitol. In 1984, it became the temporary home of the National Clearinghouse for Missing Kids. Today, the staff has grown from 4 to 17. They work 24/7.
And ultimately that led to what we have today, where we receive these notifications on our phones, and we receive more information on street signs and through the lottery.
Since 2003, Amber Alerts have recovered 227 of 244 children.
And how does it feel when there's a recovery?
Oh, it feels fantastic.
And while the clearinghouse has moved on to modern quarters, the Walsh's work continues to pay dividends today. Reporting from the state capitol, Mike Besselinda, Channel 4, the local station.
And John and Reve Walsh went on to have 3 more children. Florida Department of Law Enforcement is encouraging people not to mute Amber Alerts on your phone because they save lives.
That's so true. And if you guys remember, I did that whole story about Amber Hagerman, who the Amber Alert was made for. So after you're done watching this, definitely go back and watch that. Xena, get in your spot. Please. There she is. She's back. She had to go eat dinner. She looks very hungry over there, guys. All right, here's a weird story, a weird online theory about this Adam Walsh case. Do you guys remember Jeffrey Dahmer? I'm sure you do. So, was Jeffrey Dahmer responsible for the death of Adam Walsh? So, Dahmer was responsible for the deaths of at least 17 young men, and he sexually assaulted many more. Dahmer at the time, now keep in mind Otis Toole, they keep calling him Otis, but I'm going to say Otis because I don't care if I mispronounce his name. He don't need no, if he's offended, whatever. He's dead from syphilis or whatever anyway. Cirrhosis, syphilis, same thing. Dahmer had 11 severed heads in his apartment when he was arrested. Otis never severed anyone's head that we know of. None of the other 100 murders that he confessed to and the 20 that he actually was tied to had a severed head, except for Adam Walsh. It gets weirder, guys. Dahmer was living in Florida, 30 minutes from the mall where Adam was abducted from. 30 minutes south. Dahmer's father called America's Most Wanted after his son's arrest and told them, hey guys, I think you need to look into my son about this one. And the reason being is Jeffrey Dahmer was arrested for pleasuring himself near a park where children were playing. Jeffrey Dahmer had a similar incident when he was in the military. He was not arrested at that time, but there is a record of him pleasuring himself to young children. The reason people kind of poo-poo away the Jeffrey Dahmer part of it is because he never killed anybody that young. The youngest person that Jeffrey Dahmer killed was 13 or 14. I think 14 at the time. He never admitted to or was arrested for killing anybody younger than that. But the fact that on at least 2 occasions he was pleasuring himself to young children at a playground, seems like he was kind of into that sort of thing. And also the beheading part, he was definitely into that sort of thing. 4 different witnesses say that they saw a man matching Jeffrey Dahmer's description in the Sears that day. Now, at the time, they didn't know it was Jeffrey Dahmer because obviously Jeffrey Dahmer was not arrested till later, right? So they don't know who, like, Jeffrey Dahmer is just a random dude. But the description that they gave of the weirdo at the Sears definitely matched Jeffrey Dahmer's description. And I wish I could make this bigger, but here is a sketch that was made. This was from another mall incident. This is Jeffrey Dahmer and the sketch that was made. So a few miles away from the Hollywood Mall, there was a kid that was it was an unsuccessful attempt to abduct a child at a nearby mall. And this is the sketch of the guy here. And this is Jeffrey Dahmer at the time here. Kind of looks the same, right? It gets weirder. Definitely gets weirder. 4 different witnesses say they saw a man matching Jeffrey Dahmer's description in the toy department, near the toy department, watching the toy department where this video game was set up. They interviewed everybody at this mall. They were really looking for Adam. Obviously, anybody who was at the mall that day, call in, let me know if you saw anything. And 4 different people said, yeah, I saw this blonde-headed weird guy at the mall kind of just standing aside watching these kids. A fifth witness. So there's 4 there. There's a fifth guy who was a truck driver for Publix supermarket. And on the 7th of August, so 2 days before Adam's head was found, he said he was driving down the Florida Turnpike and saw a guy with a flashlight on the side of the road, right at the spot where, like right by that canal. So it was actually 2 different Publix truck drivers. So at Publix at the time, and maybe still now, I don't know, if Frank had showed up, I might have asked him, because I know he's works at a grocery store. So Publix is one of those companies. It's kind of like Chick-fil-A, where the customer service is like over the top. I know you guys from up north don't know what Publix supermarkets are, but if you've ever been to one, you know that they are over the top customer service. This is the type of company that will, the employees will wheel your groceries out and load them into your car for you and return the cart for you. They always say it's my pleasure. If you need something that they don't have, like let's say you want this special sauce that you used to get at a grocery store at the Jewel Osco in Chicago, and they don't have it down south, you can ask Publix to order it for you. They will do that for you. Over the top customer service. And one of the directives of the Publix truck drivers was, if you see somebody in distress at the side of the road, you should stop and see if you can help them. So they weren't worried about the delivery being late or whatever. They wanted to have this over-the-top customer service. 2 different Publix truck drivers saw a guy in a blue van parked near this canal on the 7th of August. One of the truck drivers, the Publix truck drivers, said that he witnessed, both of them saw the guy with the flashlight, but the other guy saw the person by the blue van. The side door of the blue van was open and he was walking down and had a white bucket in his hand. You know what fits in a white bucket? A kid's head fits in a white bucket. Neither truck driver stopped because it didn't seem as if the car was in distress, but they are on the lookout for this because, like I said, one of the directives is to help people on the side of the road if they can. A 6th witness said that he saw a blue van parked outside the store and saw the blue van that he saw a man and a child getting into this blue van on the day that Adam Walsh was abducted. Now, when Jeffrey Dahmer was in Florida, he worked for a sub sandwich shop, like a sub pizza place, and the vans that they had for their deliveries were blue delivery vans. So he would have had access to a blue van as well. After Jeffrey Dahmer was arrested, and Jeffrey Dahmer's picture is all over the newspaper and the news and everywhere else, these witnesses, the 4 people, I don't know if all of them, but like I said, there were 7 altogether. 4 people at the store, inside the store, 1 person outside the store, and the 2 truck drivers. All of these people, or a lot of these people, after Jeffrey Dahmer's pictures released, say, that's the guy. That is the guy that I saw. That's the guy. Jeffrey Dahmer did it for sure. And the fact that his dad called and said, hey, look into my son. Also very weird, right? Here's why I think maybe it's not Jeffrey Dahmer, is because Jeffrey Dahmer ended up confessing to a bunch of stuff that the police knew nothing about, right? And he was asked specifically about, hold on, let me read you that. I pressed the wrong button. There's the link if you want to call in. Otherwise, this is going to be a short show. So please call in if you'd like to talk about this. And let me know if you think Jeffrey Dahmer did it. The reason I think Jeffrey Dahmer may not have done it is because I believe in my heart, like I've looked into the Jeffrey Dahmer case, and I really believe in my heart that he was seeking forgiveness and that he wanted to, at the end of Jeffrey Dahmer's life, right before he was taken out by what do you call it? Like another guy in prison ended up killing Jeffrey Dahmer, but he says he found God. He says he realized that he had a mental problem. He was actually interviewing with psychiatrists trying to figure out what's wrong with his brain so he could maybe help stop other people, from doing these sorts of crimes. And is the first person in that prison that he was at to have a priest come in to baptize him. He wanted to get better. He realized what he did was wrong. He confessed to murders that the police had no idea even about, that the person was even murdered. He confessed to them. So there's a couple of things there where I think if he had done it, he would have confessed. So let me know what you guys think. I put the call-in number there. We're going to bring number 2 up now. Number 2.
Hi.
Hi.
How are
what do you
you?
think? Did Jeffrey Dahmer do it?
I had never heard of that connection at all. And
Mhm.
somehow I never knew that Henry Lee Lucas was involved in this whole thing too. And maybe I did, but I just
Yeah.
forgot about it. But the whole Jeffrey Dahmer thing, that's crazy.
Yeah, and I don't know because there's so many connections. The whole thing with the blue van, right? And
Right.
then the fact
The
that
beheading.
well, yeah, the beheading, but it's I go like all the whole time I've been researching this, I've been going back and forth in my head because all of these people who were witnesses in the Adam Walsh case that came forward after Jeffrey Dahmer was arrested, this is 10 years later. He wasn't arrested till 1991,
Yeah.
and this happened in 1981. So is it just that they want to make the connection? Like, people's memories are weird,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either. Um,
I do think that Otis was a liar up until
Mhm.
the moment he died.
Oh, yeah, for
I
sure.
do.
And the other guy too.
Yeah.
Lucas, Henry Lee Lucas. Yeah, I
Yeah.
I don't know if he's dead yet or not, but I think they're both horrible liars, and I think that a lot of murderers are out on the streets because of those 2, because they
Probably.
confess to crimes that they didn't commit, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Horrible, horrible case. I mean, a lot of good came from it, but I
Mhm.
mean, you still don't want that to happen for something good to happen because of something so horrific.
Exactly, exactly. Let me put this link in the chat again in case anybody else wants to talk about it. I just want to I have to put your name in the drawing too.
Oh,
Oh.
I get to win?
Yeah, anybody who calls in gets an automatically entered into the drawing. No
Okay, I'm
purchase
gonna hang up and come
necessary.
back real quick. Does that count as 2?
No.
Yeah.
No. Okay, number 2. Number 2 in the drawing. Um, I you know about Jeffrey Dahmer, obviously.
Yeah.
Do you think that he really was seeking forgiveness and really became a Christian?
That's I think maybe I don't know. See, the way I think maybe he felt like he really that was his only way of getting to where he wanted to be. It was to become a Christian and to get baptized and
Y
go through
Here's
all
the thing.
this.
Where did he wanna be? Because he was in a state that there was no death penalty. He
I'm
was gonna
saying
be
he wanted to get to heaven and not hell, where for sure he was going. And I don't know.
if he believes in heaven and hell, then he believes in he believes in forgiveness, and he believes that Jesus died for our sins, which includes his sins. Like,
So hard for me to grasp that just because he was sorry for what he did, that there's a chance that he's, you know, up there hanging with all the good people. It's so hard for me to
I really
grasp
think
that.
I really think he is, though. Like, in my opinion,
Mm,
obviously,
God,
I'm not God,
I
obviously,
know. I know.
but
It's just so hard for me to think that that's an option. It really is. And I know that's the rules. Those are the rules, but
well, God sent us his son to take the sins away from all of the sins away from everyone,
right,
right?
right.
And there's many I mean, Moses murdered a guy, so is Moses not in heaven, you know?
Yeah, but
Like, there's
but
murders in
yeah,
the Bible.
but what but Moses wasn't as bad as Dahmer.
No, but
But it's not
also,
I know what
if
you're saying. I
if
know.
Jesus can forgive my sin of, shoplifting when I was 8 years old, it's the same. Like, all
Yeah,
sin
I
is
know.
this is the same, right?
I know. It's still I understand it. I really honestly do.
Yeah.
But it's so hard for me to I don't know. It's just hard because I know the atrocities
Oh, yeah.
that
Well,
he that came
ma
at his hands.
many, many murderers and horrible people claim they found found
Mm,
Jesus in prison. Most of those people I don't believe, and I think the reason I do believe Dahmer did is because, first of all, he grew up, um, in religion. His grandmother would take him to church. He did
yeah.
try, like, in between his murders, he tried to go to church with his grandmother because he realized there's something wrong with me, and he
Yeah.
made an effort earlier in his life, and then he slipped back into it when he got his own place, right?
Yeah.
Where all the heads were found and all that. Um, so I really truly believe that there was no reason for him to go through, there were so many hoops he had to go through to get a priest to be able to come into the prison to
Yeah.
baptize him. That's why and there was nothing in it for him other than eternal salvation, right?
Right.
It's not like there was some sort of worldly prize for him. He's not gonna get
No,
out of prison
absolutely
early.
not.
He's not gonna
Yeah.
avoid the death penalty. Like, there was nothing in it for him except for eternal salvation. So that's
Yeah.
maybe he might be, right?
I mean, there's definitely that possibility.
Yeah.
There is that possibility. I mean, as far as the teachings go, that is what should happen.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, yeah.
That got so far away from the Adam Walsh case.
That's okay. I mean, but
I
it's
think it's
still part of
interesting.
it.
It's an
Yeah.
interesting topic, though, right? Life to the Max just got here. I'd love to hear your thoughts on if Jeffrey Dahmer's in heaven or not. You don't have to turn your camera on, obviously. If you wanna call in, I'll put the thing in the thing. Um,
You need to let people know about this weekend
I
and the fun stuff
do.
coming.
I do need to let people know. Well, I have number 2 here. I will definitely, plug that. I You always think I'm, like, thinking really hard when I look up this way, but my dry erase board is over there with my schedule. That's why. So, October 13th, which is this coming Friday, 5 days from now, right? 4
Yep.
6 days, 5 days? Yeah. 5 days from now, I will be where you are in your house, and we're gonna
Yep.
do a Friday night crime. It's not gonna be your normal average Friday. This Friday night crime actually might be able to stay up on my YouTube channel. Um,
Maybe they have it out for you though, so maybe
I
not.
don't know. I don't know. But, we will be talking about the Delphi case. We're gonna go over the timeline of the couple of days that, when the girls went missing and when they were found. We're gonna go over the evidence that we know of, right?
Yep.
Suspects that were in between. This was 2017. There was a handful of suspects in between then and now a person's been arrested for it.
Yep.
All of that and more next Friday, the 13th. Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th.
Wow,
Spooky.
did you see that light bulb just go off of my head? Yeah, Friday the 13th is a spooky day to be talking about that, right?
Kind of. Kind of. It's all superstition though,
I
so
know, I don't really
I
I
don't.
remember talking about was it I remember talking about the number 13 and why I think it was a Friday the 13th show when I was over with Hawkhound when we did one of those where I remember researching the whole history of Friday the why 13th is an
Yeah.
unlucky number.
Yeah.
And it had to do with it being off. Like the 12 is a perfect number and 13 makes it an imperfect number, being that there's 12 disciples, right? And
Mhm.
then like I'll have to go back and look at my notes on that. Maybe we'll go over the history of the 13th on that day too, since I already did the research and took notes on it, right? I just have to find those
So
notes.
it'll be like a 6-hour stream, guys. Make
I
sure you eat dinner beforehand.
I'm gonna yeah, I don't have anything better to do.
I got
Make
nowhere to
sure
be.
make sure you order your wine glass so you can hang out with number 2 and I, right?
It'll be fun.
And, here, I'm gonna put that up there. And, get your True Crime with Xena wine glass in between now and then, and you can have a little rosé, right? I don't drink wine. Is that a wine?
Yeah, I don't drink wine either. I don't drink much of anything at all,
Diet
except Diet
Pepsi.
Pepsi.
Yeah, I know. And then the very next day, the 14th. You wanna tell them about our plans for the 14th?
The 14th, we are going to be meeting Life to the Max up in
Life
Delphi.
I'm so excited.
I'm so excited. I can't wait to give her a hug.
It's a Crime Land meetup in Delphi,
It is.
Indiana. Life to the Max and the Chaldean, her brother is the Chaldean online. He's going to be there. He's our bodyguard. And we're gonna meet in Delphi, and we're gonna do a live stream from Delphi, and we will go over we're gonna retrace the steps of Abby and Libby, Abby Williams and Libby German. Or did I get
As
that
much as we
backwards?
can.
As much as we can, yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, they've changed some stuff there, so we'll see what's up.
Yeah.
We'll
Yep.
bring it to you live. We'll do it live. It'll be
Bye.
a good time.
It'll be fun.
I will be on an airplane the next day coming back here, which is the Sunday when I usually stream, so there will be no stream on Sunday. So Friday night, Saturday mid-morning, and then nothing Sunday. Sorry, guys. But after that, on the 22nd, I'm gonna do a Crime Land episode because I will have so many Crime Land things by then because I haven't done a Crime Land in
Yeah.
so long, right?
87,000 tabs.
87th, it'll be a 5-hour live stream on the 22nd, going over all the tabs of everything that happened in the world in the last month. And then the 29th, I'll be streaming from my car, or not my car, from Steven's car coming back from Vero Beach, Florida.
Those are
So
always fun streams, though. Road streams are always fun.
they are.
Especially with Steven. They're
It's like
always
a
fun.
hangout. It's just
Yeah.
like a hangout.
Yeah.
And I have thought of a couple of good Halloween stories to tell. So I'll tell him some like true crime stuff that happened on
Good.
Halloween. Yeah.
Good idea.
I know. I'm a genius, right?
So smart.
Let me know if anybody else wants to call in. Otherwise, I think that's about it. Oh, you know what I wanted to ask you though about before we go is about the Center for Missing Children and the America's Most Wanted. Isn't that awesome? All of the things that John Walsh was
Yeah.
able to do with his life since like, it's amazing to me when people are able to take a tragedy like that and like spin it into something good.
Yeah. Yeah, it does make I don't want to say it makes it all worth it, but we wouldn't have what we have now if it weren't
Mhm.
for the death of Adam Walsh.
Yeah.
And
And
America's Most
Amber.
Wanted, I mean,
Am
yeah.
Amber
Yeah.
Hagerman and Adam Walsh. I was
Right.
gonna combine these 2 stories at the time, but the Amber story was just I wanted them each to have their own episode because they deserve it. You see
Yeah,
what I
I
mean?
agree. I really do. I agree.
Um,
Yep.
but
I used to watch
Adam
America's
and
Most Wanted every week. Every
me
week.
too.
And the
Me
amount of people that have been apprehended because of that show is
I had the
awesome.
numbers. Hold on. I researched that and I had the numbers here for let's see. Do, 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 do. I have like 10 pages of notes here. I don't know. I'll get you it.
I
will
don't remember
definitely.
either, but it's a pretty
1,400.
good amount.
1,400
That's
fugitives
amazing.
and 50 missing children found
That's
because of
amazing.
America's Most Wanted.
And I
Yeah.
don't use that word amazing lightly because people overuse it for things that aren't amazing. That is amazing.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, do you want to stick around for the closing
Sure. Why
and then
not?
chat afterwards? Okay. So, real quick recap coming up on Katie Zed channel. By the way, if you're new here, I'm Katie Zed. This is my channel. Welcome. Stick around. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. I'm here. Coming up October 8th. Today's October 8th. Adam Walsh. That's what we just did. October 13th, Friday Night Crime from Indiana. This is going to be my first live, like on location
Yeah.
case. By the way, when you come visit me, I want to cover that. You remember that hot car case? I forget the guy's name, but he left his kid in the car when he went to work at Home Depot.
There's so many of these cases, and it's so sad. But I
Well,
do remember that,
yeah, it happened here, and he was convicted of doing it on purpose. So it wasn't an
Oh, that's
accident. Yeah.
sad.
So when you're here, we can do a live stream, live on location, like tracking his tracks too. So we'll have to
Okay.
plan that maybe for the spring,
Yeah.
maybe spring break
I
stream.
like that. Yeah.
Justin Ross Harris, my mom, Yo Mama's here, which is my mama.
Hi,
So,
Yo Mama.
I think maybe Zena gets another treat if that is correct. Oh, geez, Louise, 2 people. Thank you. Might be wrong. And Colonel Angus.
Did you see the one that Bandit
I did.
a while back though did, but I was cooking dinner, so I don't know if you.
Yeah, let's get Zena some treats real quick while I talk about Delphi, October 14th, live from Delphi. Live from Delphi. And I did say that I would get Ava back in here. You need to talk for a minute while I get Ava. So just talk
Okay.
about Delphi or something. Just
Okay,
talk.
yeah, so Life to the Max is gonna meet us in Delphi. So it'll be me, Katie, Life to the Max, and her brother. And like the night before, we'll go over all the details of the case, what we know so far, and then we'll retrace all the steps on Saturday. It'll be a good, well, as much of a good time as it can be.
As you
in
can.
such
Yeah.
a, you know,
I think we're
somber
gonna.
area.
I think what we should do is get some flowers and maybe say a little prayer while we're there. Life to the Max
Absolutely.
is good at that sort of stuff. So maybe we'll have her.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, exactly. There's a little memorial there. So I think that's what we need to do. I wish when I went to the grave of Mary Fagan with
Yeah.
Stephen, after I got there, I realized I didn't bring any flowers and I kind of regret it.
Yeah.
Because it's very heavy being at a place
Yeah.
like that,
I heard that the whole atmosphere of the park now is kind of
Yeah.
heavy.
Mhm. All right, thank you very much to Colonel Angus and Might Be Wrong, and I did say if somebody donated more than $10 that I would bring Ava in here as well, so that's what we're doing. We have Ava
Look at
in
her.
here.
She's an innocent angel like her mother.
She is not. Zena's an innocent angel. Ava happens to be a terrorist, by the way. All right. I got the treats for you. I do a shake. There you go.
Oh.
There's one for Ava. Zena, do a shake. There you go. And then I got to get one from Might Be Wrong too. Thank you so much, Might Be Wrong. And I almost doxed your name, Colonel Angus. Do a touch. Do a touch. Good. They're such good girls.
When she grows up, she's gonna be a great dog.
Is she
really
though?
I think she will be.
She's not yet a year old, so I
Yeah.
guess we still have time, right?
Yeah.
I
She'll
don't
be
know.
great.
Yeah. Okay, so Crimeland, October 22nd. Road Stream, October 29th. November 5th. I haven't gotten into these cases yet. Blackheart Knight, who I saw in the chat earlier. If you're still here, say hi, Blackheart Knight. He's going to go over Christine Falling case with me, which is a serial killer or a killer that I had never heard of before.
I've never heard.
Yeah, so he emailed me last night and I looked a little bit into this case. It's whoo, yeah. He had a run-in with this lady.
Oh.
So we're gonna get him on to talk about that for sure.
Oh.
And that is November 5th, and then November 12th. The show that I had to reschedule, Miss Mandy was going to come in on the 29th to talk about a case, but I had to reschedule that because of this Florida trip that popped up. So we rescheduled that for November 12th. And then hopefully another time in November. Like I said, Frank had to reschedule for today, but we're going to get him in November sometime to talk about another Florida case. So, hey, Blackheart Knight, good to see you. I was just telling them about that Christine Falling case because
What's that name? Falling?
I wrote down Falling. Is that right, Blackheart Knight? Is it Falling? Christine Falling?
Like falling,
failing?
Falling?
That's what I wrote down, but it was also at like midnight last night when I wrote it down. So, who knows?
Okay.
But yeah, we're going to dig into that. Don't forget, if you make a donation while I'm on air, the dogs get a milk bone. However, if you make a donation while I'm off air, the first thing we do when I get back on air is give the dogs their treats. So feel free to do that. The standing charge right now for Mr. Zed to come in here and eat a dog biscuit is $1,000. So keep that in mind. You guys can pool your funds as well. Hello, Fluff's World from Twitch. We're just ending right now, but we're here every Sunday at 4:30 for a little bit of true crime. And come back next Sunday. It'll be a good time. Next Sunday we're not here. Actually, next week, we're going to be on Friday night at 7 instead, by the way.
Yeah.
But come back next week, next Friday at 7. Every other Sunday, we're here at 4:30. buymeacoffee.com/KDZ if you want to make a donation while we're off air. Also, KDZ.com. Use discount code ZETA10 for 10% off of anything. I think that's the show. I need to write down my outro because otherwise I just ramble. Thanks for coming, everybody. We will see you next Friday. Don't forget, different time next week, Friday at 7 o'clock. We'll see you then. Bye, guys.
Bye.